Hey guys, this is Jeff here and welcome back to Runnergy, and today we're going to be talking about not this. We're going to be talking about maximum cushion shoes with low heel drops. Alright, so first shoe on my list is the New Balance More. You heard me right, it's called More. Version 6 in particular. This is a shoe with more cushioning than other models from New Balance. So you have like the 880 and you have the 1080, which I reviewed on the channel here. You can go check those out. But if you want more shoe, get the More. This shoe is very thick with a 44 millimeter to 40 millimeter in the front. So 44 in the back and 40 in the front. That's a 4 millimeter drop. They're using Fresh Foam X, which is, this shoe is just very cushioned. Very, very cushioned and very even feeling with that 4 millimeter drop. Very even cushioning throughout the entire shoe. So it's very even feeling. It's got a nice wide platform. It's a little bit on the heavier side. It's near 11 ounces in the men's and just around 8.5 ounces in the women's. But it's got a super wide platform. It fits medium, maybe medium to maybe a little bit wide. Definitely a shoe that you should check out from this list if you're looking for maximum cushioning and a low heel drop. Great for walking, by the way. All right, so I want to point out here that these are shoes for walking and jogging. You can run in these, but I think that's going to be really pushing it. These are all kind of bulkier, heavier shoes, so I would say walking and jogging would be probably ideal for these shoes. Also, the New Balance More is coming in at $160, which is one of the lower priced ones here in this list. Okay, so moving on to my second shoe on the list here is one that I actually have here. This is the Altra Via Fwd. I believe this is the first gen, but there is a second gen out, and that is a little bit softer than the shoe. If you didn't know, you would almost not know the difference between the two. So let's just talk about the material of the midsole on here. The Altra comes with the Ego P35, which I believe is infused with nitrogen similar to Brooks, and gives you very durable. The shoe's been lasting very long for me, and other shoes with that material have lasted a long time. So very, very good cushioning. It does keep that shoe, like I said, I feel like this is lighter than what they're saying. It should also be very durable as well. So that's one of the cool things about that kind of nitrogen shoes material foams that they're having out there, is that the cushioning is very good. It makes the shoe even lighter and doesn't really compromise in durability. So definitely a very cool midsole on here. I also want to point out the Altra Via Fwd 2 comes in at $165. It's got a nice wide platform, a 4 millimeter drop, just like the New Balance More, with a 37 millimeter rear and 33 in the front. So not quite as thick as that New Balance More, but that's because the New Balance is more. But this has one thing that none of the other shoes on this have, and which is why it's one of my main shoe, is this toe box. So Altras, if you didn't know, they have this natural shaped wide toe box, which is great. It doesn't push up on the big toe as much here, and it's more rounded. So I'm a big fan of this. Also, this shoe comes in at 10.6 ounces in the men's and 8.7 in the women's. I feel like the weight on this seems a little bit off. This is extremely light feeling shoe, so I feel this is noticeably lighter feeling than the New Balance More. I really enjoy this shoe. It's also very stiff. The new version of this, version 2, is maybe a little bit less stiff than this one here and a little bit softer. That is a nice thing if you're looking for more cushioning. Anyway, that is the Altra Via Fwd 2, which would replace this one. Again, this is the first one. You almost wouldn't notice the difference. All right, we are moving on to the third shoe here on my list of maximum cushion shoes with low heel drops. All right, guys, this is the Saucony Hurricane version 25, and it comes in at $170. So a little bit on the higher tier of these category, but it does have 2 density foam in here and is the only one here that is a medial stability control shoe. So let's get into it about this Hurricane version 25 from Saucony. And the next one here is a little bit different than everything else on the list because this is actually a stability shoe for someone who overpronates. So just a recap on that. Overpronation stability shoe is if when you land here and you pronate in, but you don't stop and just toe off. It's when you land here and you pronate in and you continue to pronate in, putting all of your weight on this side of the shoe. So what they do is they beef this side of the shoe up so that it just doesn't break down this way and you have a crushed, smashed in shoe on this side of the shoe. So this side of the shoe will be beefier, more durable, and more stable than the lateral side of the shoe. This is called the medial side. So you have a nice, really wide footprint here. It's also pretty lightweight. Let's see here. What do we have? 10 ounces on the men's and 8.8 ounces on the women's. It feels pretty lightweight. It doesn't feel as light as the Altra does, even though on paper it's saying it is. 38 in the back and 32 in the front with a 6mm drop. So this one has a little bit more of a drop than the New Balance More or the Altra, but it's very smooth. You won't notice it. It's not like the Saucony Hurricane that has a 10mm drop, which is a little bit more noticeable having that drop, but this is a 6mm drop. You got this very wide platform, as I mentioned. This is going to be a lot stiffer. Again, this is in that medial stability category, so it should be a little bit stiffer. If you don't need that pronation control, I would look at the other shoes in this list. If you have an orthotic, I would still probably look at the other shoes in this list, just because this lateral side of the shoe is a little bit soft. We don't want to overcorrect your pronation prescription there. But if you, if you're just wearing it on its own, this is a very stable shoe and tons of cushioning in this shoe. You definitely know you have the shoe on when you have the shoe on. All right, and with that, let's move on to the next shoe with the Brooks Ghost Max version 3. This is a shoe I don't have here, but I have worked with lots of people with this shoe. It is not the lightest weight shoe here on the list. It comes in at 10.8 for the men's and 9.7 for the women's. Again, very confused here with the numbering there because this shoe is noticeably heavier feeling, I think, than the New Balance More. And yet the numbers are basically kind of showing the same, although the women's are showing heavier. Very bizarre. So anyway, but I can just tell you from experience, this is a shoe that people definitely notice a little bit more of the weight. It's a little bit chunkier. The foam definitely feels more dense. It's still really crazy cushy, but it's not that kind of pillowy, soft, cushy-mushy that say like the New Balance More has or the next shoe on this list. It comes in with a 39mm in the back and 33 in the front, making it a 6mm difference from front to back on that Brooks Ghost Max 3. The upper is also kind of interesting. Where the laces are, it tends to be not very deep in volume, so the laces tend to be spread apart, so they tend to be just kind of, it's almost like the top of the foot tends to like be poking out, and it doesn't really come over the foot as well as some of the other shoes. I haven't had anyone like really slipping in the heel because of that, but it just doesn't seem to look like it's clamping down on the foot as much as some of the other shoes here. And it is using a DNA Loft version 3, again, for very good stability throughout the shoe, very dense feeling shoe, less energetic feeling than most of these other shoes on the list here. I would say that of all of the shoes here that feel more focused towards walking, I would say that Brooks Ghost Max 3 is the one that just, when I have tried it on, it just screams to me saying, let's go for a walk. It's just not as responsive feeling as the other shoes, especially the next shoe I'm going to show you on the list here. But it very solid for walking. Comes in at $160. Still a very good shoe. Just if you are used to other Brooks shoes like the Glycerin or the Ghost, even the regular Ghost, this isn't going to fit and feel like those shoes. So just keep that in mind. This is a different fit and feel than other shoes from Brooks, okay? Let's get on to the next shoe on the list here. This is the last one before I do have a bonus one for you. I'm going to show you at the end here. And it is none other than my main shoe for long distance walking. Although I'll be really honest, the fit on the Altra is starting to win me over. As I'm walking longer distances, this toe box is really starting to annoy me. It's way too tapered in and way too pointy here. So I am starting to get some hot spots on the toe and the toe area in this shoe. Now this, I'll mind you, this is a women's 8.5 wide, and I may just do better in a men's wide. So keep that in mind. It does have a very wide platform, but don't let that fool you. This is not the widest shoe in the world. The Hoka Bondi 9, by the way, in case I didn't mention that. I've had to put a few people who don't even wear wides into the wide on this shoe. The sidewall is much better than it was on the version 8. Doesn't tend to cut in as much, so it is much better and more comfortable in that way. Let's take a look at some of the specs. The weight is 10.5 ounces in the men's and 9.3 in the women's. It feels about that. It's not very light, so definitely some weight more in the heel on this shoe is more noticeable. Not sure why, but it's got a 43 in the back millimeter, 38 in the front. Oh, and then it's also one less on the women's. I don't know why Hoka does that. They make their thickness thinner on the women's. Just give the same amount, especially like say here, I sometimes have to go into the women's. I don't know, just do the same thickness, Hoka. It's kind of annoying that it's 1 millimeter thinner on the women's. So you get a 5 millimeter drop, so not quite as low of a drop as the 4 millimeter on the Altra or the More, not as thick as like say the Saucony Hurricane. This is a little bit better quality foam than the other shoes on the list, I would say. This has got their super critical EVA foam here, and it is fantastic. Holy moly, the foam on this shoe feels so good. It is really nice. Even coming downhill, it is just so spongy and yet still responsive feeling. This is just a really incredible foam on this shoe, and it's really the best thing on the shoe, in my opinion. Good, you got a nice wide platform. It still kind of kinks in right in here a little bit, but not as bad as the version before this. Yeah, it's just a really great feeling shoe. Everything from the ball of the foot to the heel on the shoe is near perfect for me. It's really, really comfortable. It fits nice and snug up in here, gives you a nice locked in fit. It's just, if you got a really wide foot or you really want to be able to splay your toes out a little bit more, this is just not much. So anyway, that is the Hoka Bondi 9. This has been kind of my main shoe for walking and jogging for quite some time now. I would say several months. I have very much enjoyed this until I've been recently starting to do longer walks as opposed to running as much. I'm walking a little bit more, but I am going further, and so I'm starting to re-look and go back to the Altras, which has been, when it comes to longer stuff, has been historically my go-to brand here. So another one to keep in mind is also Topo. Topo does make some great shoes. I was considering putting them on this list here, but this has been such a great shoe for me, this Altra Via Fwd. Anyway, that is the list here, and stick around. I do have a bonus shoe coming up right now. All right, so for the bonus shoe in this video, it's a little bit different, and I know it's a little controversial to point this one out because it does not have a low heel drop, but if you're looking for maximum cushioning and you're okay, maybe you need a higher drop, maybe you have a low back issue, or you got tight calves or something like that. But I do want to throw in a crazy cushy shoe here. It does not have a low heel drop, so just bear with me. But this is a shoe I'm going to be doing a review on soon, so I wanted to throw it in here. And that is the Nike Vomero Plus. Not the premium and not the regular Vomero, the kind of middle child here. The Nike Vomero Plus is very, very, very cushioned. It's got a really nice wide platform, and it does have a 10 millimeter drop, which is crazy high, but I have to say it's very smooth. From heel to toe, it does not scream at me. A lot of these shoe brands have gotten this higher drops to be very smooth from heel to toe. Some of them, if you put them on, you almost wouldn't think they're that high. This is one of them. It's actually very smooth from heel to toe. The cushioning in this shoe, I believe it's the Zoom X foam in here, is just ridiculous. Seriously, it is so cushioned. And Nike finally doing kind of a wider platform. The shoe is, stable enough. It's not going to win any awards on stability, but not bad. It really has performed very well. With that higher heel drop, this actually works much better for running. So if you're looking for a max cushion shoe that you can walk in but also run in, you know, we're going to see. I'm going to do a full video review on this one and give you my thoughts on walking, jogging, and running in them. How does it feel on my more stable left foot? How does it feel on my less stable right foot? So stay tuned and subscribe. If you like this video, like the video. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on my review on this Nike Vomero Plus coming up. And with that, thanks for watching and making it to the end of the video here. We appreciate it. And as always, keep on moving, 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 moving. This Nike's making me move. It's making me move forward. Is this very springy and stuff? No? Okay. Anyway, keep on moving, 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 moving. And I'll see you on the next video.